Well, hello, brothers and sisters. We are once again trying to put the Word of God back in its proper context to get the mind of God. Specifically, right now, we're looking at the words of Christ. Oh, how we've twisted the words of Christ. And I have a really powerful word for you today. Oh, yes, this is what Christ told us. He says, if we give, it will be given to you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, we put in your lap. Wow. Brothers and sisters, if you give to my ministry, tithes and offerings, I promise you, God will give you so much more in return. Of course, you understand that I'm mocking here, mocking the prosperity approach to this verse. And yet, the troubling thing is the verse does say what I just read. It does say that if we give, it will be given back to us. But here's the question: what what is it that we're supposed to give? Does Jesus talk about money here? About giving tithes and offerings? And to get tithes and offering or money in return? Is that what he says? It's not in the text. In that verse, he doesn't talk about money. He does talk about giving, but it doesn't talk about money. And if we look at the context, if we back up just one little verse, we'll see what he's talking about. Verse 37 of Luke 6 will say, "Judge not, and you will not be judged. Condemn not, and you will not be condemned. Forgive, and you'll be forgiven." So we see, first of all, the context is relationships between one another, not us and God. It's about not being judgmental, condemning, and especially be able to forgive others. And then he says, give. Give what? Give forgiveness. Give a non-judging attitude or kindness and mercy. Give that, and it will be given to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over even, and it will put in your lap. And he finishes this by saying, "For, get this, with the measure you use, it will be measured back to you." Measure of what? The forgiveness, judgmental, condemning attitude. If you are judging others, you will be judged in the same way. But if you are forgiving, kind, merciful to others, it will be given back to you. Even when we back up a little bit, and there seems to be a talk of money, well, we see that money is still not predominant. For example, verse 35, "But love your enemies, and do good, and lend, expecting nothing in return, and your reward will be great, and you'll be sons of the Most High. For he is kind to the ungrateful and the evil. Be merciful, even as your Father is merciful." And then he says, "Judge not." So we see that if money is mentioned, it's still in this idea of do it out of mercy, do it out of love and kindness. And that kind of giving, that kind of merciful expression will come back to you with mercy and kindness and love and forgiveness in return. It's still this idea of how you treat others, you'll be treated. That's basically what Jesus is getting at here. That's the kind of giving, relationship giving, mercy giving, forgiving giving. That's what he's getting at. And that's what we get in return in a greater measure. And the way we treat others will be treated. This is basically what Jesus is saying. Has nothing to do about giving to God and God giving you much stuff in return. To try to find that in Jesus' word is to insert stuff he did not say. Let's not do that. Instead, let's take this great demand that the Lord has given us to be greatly merciful and forgiving and loving and not judgmental, so that in return we can have the same kind of overwhelming and just bubbling over mercy and forgiveness and love in return for ourselves. May that passage bring us to that instead, which is more and more demanding than giving 10% to the church, as you probably all know. With that said, I love you, brothers and sisters. Be blessed.